In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make one of these cups in Onshape, and then we're going to export it from Onshape into an STL, import it into Blender, then apply this cool brick texture that you see here. Then we'll export that as an STL, and then we'll print it out using the Bambu Lab A1 Mini. So let's get started. So first things first, go to Polyhaven, and then go to Assets, and go to Textures. Then I'm going to select Brick, and I'm going to find a brick texture that I like a lot. I like this red brick one, so click on this one. And then instead of downloading the whole pack, click on the 3 stacked bars here, pancake menu, then go to displacement and download this as a PNG. So this just downloads, or it opens the image like this, so then press Control S and let's save this to the downloads folder. In Onshape, I'm going to go to Create and create a document. I'm going to call this Texture Cup. Now I'm going to make basically a cup or like a cylinder here. So we'll go to View, Normal to the top plane, go into Sketch, click on the top plane to sketch there. I'm going to create a circle to start. Then I'm going to use the Dimension tool. I'm going to dimension this to 3 inches. Now I'm going to extrude this. So we go to Extrude. I'm going to extrude this also 3 inches, like so. Now I'm going to do I'm going to make this like a cup or like hollow on top. So I'll click this surface, click Sketch, center point circle, select the center here. And then I'm going to dimension this using the Dimension tool, or D. Let's do 2.6, like that. We'll have a thicker wall cup. Then let's extrude that. So I'm going to go to Remove, and then I'm going to change to up to face, and we'll have an offset distance. The face that we're going up to is the bottom face here. We'll change this offset distance to 0.1. And what that will do is it will put the bottom of the extrusion 0.1 from the bottom of the cup, like so. Let's check this. Now I will export this as an STL. So we'll call this Texture Cup. Format is STL, binary, units, millimeter, resolution, fine. Okay, so we'll do all that. And we'll check that it has saved. So here is the saved STL. So now we're going to open Blender. So let's click into the workspace and then press A or select all, and press delete to delete those initial objects. Then we'll go to File, Import, STL, go to our texture cup, and import that. You'll see that the cup itself, if we go into edit mode, this mesh is not nearly fine enough to apply a texture to. So let's go back to object mode. We'll go to modifiers, so this little wrench icon on the right. We're going to add a modifier. That modifier will be generate and then remesh. I'm going to use the sharp remesh, and I'm going to set the octree depth to 7. And we'll click apply, like so. Now if we go back into edit mode, you can see this is a much better looking mesh here. So I'm holding shift and middle mouse to move around and navigate, or just middle mouse to rotate around. Now what we need to do is apply our texture. So we'll go to add modifier, then we go to deform and displace. When you add this modifier in, this texture icon appears. Click on the texture icon, click on new, and then open down here. We'll bring in our brick image. Let's go back to object mode. So look at our displacement here. It looks awful, frankly. This is not what we want it to look like at all, and not even close to what we want. So we're going to fix this using a UV map and a vertex group. Let's go to edit mode. Now we will look at this mesh face on by pressing the X or Y up here. What we want to do now is just select only the outer faces of our cylinder here. So go to the face select tool here on the upper left. Now I'm going to select this whole thing and then click on Y to rotate, hold shift and continue selecting. So go around this whole part while holding shift, all 360 degrees. Make sure to hold shift so it selects these, all of the faces. Now what we want to do is we want to deselect this top row here. How we can deselect that is hold Control Alt Shift and then select here. So I did that one wrong because I selected too low. So press Control Z. So Control Alt Shift and hold more to the left here. There, that unselected that whole loop all the way around. Now let's look and do the same thing at the bottom. So Control Alt Shift, and I'll select and click kind of more on the left of this face here. So just like that, I have selected all of the outer faces. So let's rotate around 360 and make sure we have selected the faces like so. It looks good to me. Now we'll go to this green icon here, data. We're going to create a vertex group. So click on this plus here. I'm going to name this group outer walls. You can name it whatever you want. Then I'm going to click assign while these faces are still selected. So now if I click off of our part, so everything has been deselected, if I click on select, now it reselects all of these faces here. So let's go back to object mode. Our texture still doesn't look good. What we need to do next is we need to go back into edit mode. We need to set this up for UV mapping. And we need to create a seam to unwrap all of these faces along. So how we'll do that is we'll go to the edge select tool. I'm going to select an edge up top here, like this one here. And then I want to draw this edge all the way down to the bottom. So I have this one selected here. We navigate down to the bottom. And I'm going to hold Control and select one of these vertical edges down here. So this looks pretty good. Looks like I selected it all the way down, nice and straight. And then up here, well, this one doesn't look so good. There's this right angle in it. So I'm going to hold Shift and deselect these. And then just select this one here. So this whole edge from top to bottom is selected. Next we go to UV and then mark seam. So that puts a seam in here. Let's go back to our vertex group and select. So our outer walls now have a seam from which they can be unwrapped. Next thing we do is click on UV and then select Unwrap Conformal. Now we'll go to the UV editing menu on the top here and zoom out here so you can see better. I'm going to select our, go to this image icon and select our red brick displacement image here. Let's go back to our modifier here. Now if we change our coordinates from local to UV and also change the vertex group to outer walls and then go into object mode, you can see that there are these this brick pattern here now. Let me increase the strength so you can see a little better. And that looks pretty good. So we're a lot closer to what we want now, but these bricks are going in the wrong direction. How we'll change that is we'll do some modifications in the UV side here. So go into edit mode. If the vertices are not selected here, go to select all. Now I'm going to rotate this. So I'm going to press R and then click and then rotate. I'm going to just set this exactly to 90 degrees. Just like that. Perfect. Now I'm going to move this to the center of the square. Press G and you can move it around. Now I'm going to scale this so it just fills the square perfectly. So press S and then Y to hold it to the Y axis only. I'm going to just do this a couple times and dial this in. Okay, I've filled the square perfectly. Let's see what our object looks like now. So it looks pretty good. The bricks are really stretched out now though. So I'm not a huge fan of that because it looks weird. Let's go back to edit mode. Now in the UV menu here, I'm going to scale this in the X direction. So press S and then X to scale in the X direction. I'm going to scale in X direction by 4. So I'll type in 4 here, press enter. Now we go back to object mode. Now our bricks look a lot better. Much, much better. So that's a way better size for a brick. So you can change that scale. I changed it to 4, so that made the bricks kind of small. You can change it to 3 if you want them less small. You can change it however you want. The last thing to look at, let's go back to the layout menu actually. Last thing to look at is our top and bottom have this kind of ugly sharp lip here. Let's look at this one on the bottom too. So it doesn't look good. It looks kind of like a defect. So we'll go to our modifiers menu here. We can adjust that by changing the mid-level here. So I just bring that down a bit and now it's all straightened out on the top and also on the bottom. Doesn't look like there's any sorts of issues now. So you can play with that. Now we will go to apply the modifier. Then we'll go to File, Export STL. I'm going to export this as, let's call this Texture Cup Blender. Export STL. Now we'll go to Bambu Studio, go to File, Import, and then we'll open up the Texture Cup Blender here. So it looks just like we had in Blender, and it's a 3-inch by 3-inch cylinder, just like we created in Onshape. So let's slice this and print it.